Your life has a beautiful way of unfolding. If you dare to do this one thing, stop waiting for permission. Every dream you have, every goal that keeps you up at night, every whisper inside that says there's more for me. It's not random, it's not noise, it's the universe handing you a mirror and asking, will you recognize yourself? Most people don't. They shrink, they question, they hide behind excuses, waiting for some perfect moment to arrive. But here's the truth, there is no perfect moment, there's only the one you create. So if you truly want your life to unfold beautifully, powerfully, unapologetically, do these 6 things. Your life has a beautiful way of unfolding. If you dare to do this one thing, stop waiting for permission. Because the truth is, no one is coming to tell you it's your time. No one will hand you the perfect opportunity wrapped in validation. The moment you start asking for permission to shine, to speak, to take up space, you surrender your power. And power once surrendered is hard to reclaim. You were not born to tiptoe around your own brilliance. You were born to take up space, to own your desires, to look at the world and say, yes, I belong here too. You must stop apologizing for wanting more, the desire for more purpose, more growth, more freedom. Isn't greed, it's your soul's way of saying, you're not done yet. So many of us grow up believing that wanting more somehow makes us ungrateful, that ambition is arrogance, that confidence is conceit. But here's what no one tells you, being humble doesn't mean being invisible. You can be grateful for what you have and still crave evolution. You can love your life and still want to expand it. Gratitude is not a cage, it's a foundation. The world has convinced too many people to settle for less because they were told they should be content. But contentment without growth is decay. You can outgrow a version of yourself and still honor who you once were. You can appreciate your now while fiercely building your next. The two can coexist beautifully. Every time you silence your ambition to make others comfortable, you betray yourself. You shrink to fit into spaces that were never meant to contain you. You lower your volume, your light, your fire, just to make sure no one feels threatened, and that's the tragedy. Because every time you dim yourself, you teach others it's okay to dim too. You teach the world that brilliance is negotiable, but it isn't. There's no award for playing small. There's no honor in shrinking. The people who change the world are the ones who dare to stand tall, even when they're told to sit down. The ones who raise their hands when no one else does. The ones who believe their vision deserves a voice, and that voice is yours. When you start unapologetically chasing your dreams, something powerful happens. You attract courage. You start seeing possibilities where others see problems. You stop waiting for someone to choose you because you realize you were already chosen. Every time you take a step toward your own potential, you send a message to the universe that says, I am ready. Yea, and the universe responds, not always with ease, but with opportunity. People will doubt you. They will question you. They'll say you've changed, and they'll be right, because growth is change. Transformation is uncomfortable. You can't become extraordinary while clinging to the expectations of those who prefer you ordinary. You must walk into the discomfort of your evolution like it's sacred ground, because it is. Owning your desire for more doesn't mean chasing superficial success. It means chasing alignment. It's not about more money, more followers, more applause. It's about more meaning, more peace, more truth. When you stop apologizing for wanting more, you stop chasing what impresses others and start pursuing what fulfills you. You realize the highest form of success isn't being admired, it's being authentic. You start saying yes to what S eats your soul on fire and no to what drains your spirit. And suddenly, everything begins to shift. Your energy changes, your circle changes, your standards change. You stop living life by default and start living it by design. That's the beauty of owning your ambition. It doesn't just change your direction, it changes your identity. So stop shrinking. Stop second-guessing. Stop waiting for permission to live fully, loudly, fiercely. The world doesn't need another watered-down version of you. It needs the real you, the one who's not afraid to stand out, to fail, to rise, to shine. There's a reason your heart keeps whispering that there's more. It's because there is. You are not meant to simply exist, you are meant to expand, to build, to inspire, to become. Life rewards the bold, it always has. And if you want your life to unfold beautifully, stop asking if it's okay to want more. And start acting like you deserve it. God, because you do. Own your story, every chapter, every scar, every moment that made you who you are. Too many people live their lives pretending their pain never happened, as if denial could somehow erase the past. But your story, every broken piece, every dark night, every time you thought you wouldn't make it, is your power. The world doesn't need a version of you that's polished and perfect. It needs the version that's real. Because authenticity heals. When you own your story, you take back control from everything that ever tried to silence you. The things you once thought disqualified you are actually what make you magnetic. The truth is, people don't connect to perfection, they connect to truth. And your truth, no matter how messy, has the power to move mountains when you stop hiding from it. The parts of your story you try to bury are the same parts that can set someone else free. Think about it. How many times has someone's vulnerability given you permission to be human? How many times has someone's honesty reminded you that you're not alone? That's the gift of owning your story. It becomes a bridge. It becomes light in someone else's darkness. Your pain transforms into purpose the moment you decide to stop being ashamed of it. When you tell your story with courage, you reclaim every time life tried to break you. You show others that survival is strength, not weakness. You remind them that resilience isn't about never falling, it's about standing up one more time than you were knocked down. Every scar becomes a story of he made it. Every loss becomes a lesson of he learned. Every heartbreak becomes a declaration of he loved, and I'm still capable of love. That's power. We live in a world obsessed with filters on faces, on stories, on lives. But filters can't hide emptiness forever. Pretending to be perfect is exhausting. You can't breathe behind a mask that wasn't made for you. True confidence isn't about pretending you've never struggled. It's about showing up anyway. When you stand in the truth of your story, you stop performing and start living. You stop chasing validation because you realize your worth was never up for debate. It doesn't depend on the approval of others. It comes from knowing that you've lived, you've fallen, you've healed, and you're still here. You've earned your place. Every scar on your heart is proof that you're a warrior of your own life. And warriors don't hide their battle marks, they wear them with pride. Your story isn't just about what happened to you, it's about what you did with what happened. The challenges you faced weren't random. They were invitations to rise. Maybe you lost something you thought you couldn't live without. Maybe you were betrayed, rejected, abandoned. Maybe you had to rebuild yourself from the ashes of everything you thought was forever. But here you are, still standing, still trying, still believing in something better. That's not weakness, that's victory. You learned how to start over. You learned how to trust again, how to love again, how to dream again. That's the kind of strength you can't fake. It's the kind of strength that can't be taught. It's earned through tears and tenacity. And when you own that story, no one, not failure, not fear, not judgment, can take it from you. Owning your story also means forgiving yourself for the versions of you that didn't know better. It means releasing the guilt of past mistakes and embracing the growth they gave you. You are allowed to outgrow your old self. You are allowed to evolve. You are allowed to stop punishing yourself for things you did when you were surviving. Growth isn't about erasing your past, it's about transforming your relationship with it. Every time you forgive yourself, you reclaim a piece of your power. You stop letting the past define you, and you start letting it refine you. Because you can't move forward if you keep carrying the weight of who you used to be. You have to honor that version of you, thank them for getting you here, and then let them go. When you own your story, you walk differently. You speak differently. You move through life with an unshakable kind of peace. Because you know that nothing can be used against you once you've already claimed it. No rumor, no judgment, no misunderstanding can shake someone who's standing in truth. You stop being afraid of being seen because you realize being seen is your superpower. You become unstoppable. Because when your story is no longer a wound but a weapon of light, you're no longer just living, you're leading. You become proof that healing is possible, that rising is possible, that becoming whole again is possible. Your story is your legacy, and when you own it, you don't just change your life, you give others permission to change theirs. Because the moment you stop hiding your story, the world finally gets to meet the real you. And that's where your power begins. Wade. Protect your energy like it's gold, because it is. Energy is your life force, the invisible current that shapes every thought, decision, and outcome. When your energy is scattered, so is your focus. When your energy is drained, even the simplest goals start to feel impossible. The truth is, not everyone deserves access to your energy. Not every situation deserves your reaction. Not every invitation deserves your yes. You must learn to be intentional with your energy because it determines the direction of your life. Every conversation, every relationship, every thought is either feeding your fire or extinguishing it. And you must have the courage to choose peace over people-pleasing, clarity over chaos, and alignment over approval. Your energy is sacred. Protect it like your life depends on it, because in many ways it does. There will be people who take without giving, who drain your spirit while pretending to care. These are the ones who leave you feeling smaller after every interaction. You know that feeling, the heaviness after certain conversations, the exhaustion after certain company. That's not coincidence. That's your intuition warning you that your energy is being siphoned. Protecting your energy doesn't make you cold or selfish. It makes you wise. Because no one who truly values you will demand you sacrifice your peace to keep them comfortable. The people who belong in your life will add to your light, not compete with it. So stop trying to heal people who don't want to change. Stop showing up for people who never show up for you. You cannot pour from an empty soul. You cannot keep fixing others at the expense of breaking yourself. Boundaries are not walls, they are filters. They don't keep love out, they keep chaos out. Boundaries are how you teach the world how to treat you. And the truth is, if you don't set your own boundaries, someone else will set them for you. And you probably won't like where they draw the line. Protecting your energy means saying no, even when it's uncomfortable. It means walking away from situations that no longer serve your growth. It means allowing yourself to rest without guilt, to disconnect without explanation, to choose solitude over noise. People may not understand your boundaries at first, but they will learn to respect them when they see how fiercely you respect yourself. You don't owe anyone access to you just because they demand it. You are not responsible for carrying everyone else's emotional baggage. There's a misconception that being kind means being endlessly available. But kindness without limits is self-destruction in disguise. You can be compassionate and still have boundaries. You can love people deeply and still protect your peace. Protecting your energy isn't about isolation. It's about preservation. It's about making sure you have enough strength left for your purpose. It's about creating space for the things that matter, your dreams, your health, your inner calm. When you stop wasting energy on what drains you, you suddenly have so much more for what fulfills you. You start waking up lighter, thinking clearer, loving deeper. Your creativity flows, your confidence returns, your intuition sharpens. Because peace is the ultimate power. And when you protect it, everything around you begins to align with that vibration. Sometimes, protecting your energy means letting go of people you once loved. That's one of the hardest lessons you'll ever learn. That not everyone can stay on the journey. Some people were only meant to teach you something, not walk with you forever. It doesn't mean you hate them. It doesn't mean you're bitter. It means you finally realized that you can love someone and still choose yourself. Growth often requires separation, not because others are bad, but because your path demands a higher frequency. The more you grow, the more you'll notice your circle shrinking, and that's not loss, that's alignment. Because when you stop chasing everyone, the right ones find you. The ones who match your peace, your passion, your purpose. They arrive naturally, effortlessly, beautifully. When you master the art of protecting your energy, you master the art of living. You no longer get pulled into every argument, every drama, every distraction. You stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. You stop allowing negativity to rent space in your mind. You begin to walk with an inner calm that can't be disturbed, no matter what's happening around you. And that calm, that unshakable stillness is your power. Because when your energy is aligned, you stop reacting and start creating. You stop surviving and start thriving. You stop existing for others and start living for yourself. The world feels different when your energy is your own. Life becomes lighter, love becomes deeper, and you begin to attract the kind of peace that doesn't need protection, because it radiates from within. Because when you learn to protect your energy, you stop just living, you start rising. Take action before you feel ready, because waiting for readiness is how dreams die quietly. Most people spend their entire lives waiting for the perfect moment to begin, the perfect plan, the perfect timing, the perfect confidence. But perfection is a myth, a convenient illusion designed to keep you comfortable. The truth is, no one ever feels fully ready. The greatest breakthroughs in life happen when you step forward despite the fear, despite the uncertainty, despite that trembling voice in your head that whispers, "What if I fail?" You must understand this. Action is not the reward for confidence. Action, it creates a confidence. You don't build courage by thinking about it. You build it by doing, by leaping, by trusting that even if you fall, you'll rise stronger. Every person you've ever admired started scared. Every success story began with a shaky step. Readiness comes after movement, never before it. Fear disguises itself as logic. It convinces you that waiting is smart, that planning more is responsible, that hesitation is protection. But deep down, you know that what you call preparation is often procrastination wearing a suit. The more you wait, the heavier the fear becomes. The longer you delay, the more powerful your doubts grow. You start to overthink every detail until the dream that once set your soul on fire begins to feel impossible. That's how dreams die, not from failure, but from hesitation. You cannot think your way into a new life. You must actor your way into it. The courage to begin doesn't come from certainty. It comes from commitment, from saying, "I may not have it all figured out, but I'm starting anyway." That's the moment everything changes. The instant your intention turns into motion, the universe takes notice. When you take action before you feel ready, you tap into a force that few people ever experience: momentum. Momentum is magic. It transforms fear into focus and doubt into drive. Once you begin, something inside you awakens. You realize that the monsters you imagined were smaller than your hesitation. You see that progress doesn't come from giant leaps, but from small, consistent steps. Each action you take builds evidence that you're capable. Each risk reminds you that you're stronger than your excuses. And little by little, you stop waiting for the right time, because you understand the truth. The right time is, I know. The more you move, the clearer the path becomes. You stop needing permission. You stop needing perfect conditions. You just move. And in that movement, you create miracles. Action also has a spiritual rhythm. When you take a step toward your dream, life takes a step toward you. Doors begin to open that you didn't even know existed. Opportunities reveal themselves in unexpected places. It's not luck, it's alignment. Action tells the universe that you're serious, that you're ready to participate in your own destiny. Most people pray for miracles while standing still, but faith without motion is just wishful thinking. If you want your prayers answered, give them legs. Show up for your dream like it's already yours. Act like it's on its way, and it will start moving toward you. You don't need to see the entire staircase. Just trust the next step, because every step you take in faith creates a ripple that will lead you exactly where you were meant to go. Of course, taking action before you're ready means you will stumble, you will fail, you will question yourself, but that's part of the process. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's the soil success grows from. Every mistake refines you. Every setback strengthens you. The fear of looking foolish keeps so many people stuck at the starting line. But here's the secret. Everyone looks foolish at the beginning. Every master was once a beginner who refused to quit. You cannot skip the awkward stages of growth. You cannot perfect something you never start. The people who go the farthest are not the most talented. They're the most willing to begin imperfectly. They embrace the discomfort of learning, knowing that confidence will come later. Every time you take action, you become a different version of yourself. Wiser, bolder, more unstoppable. When you stop waiting for the right moment and start moving in faith, life expands in ways you can't imagine. You stop feeling trapped by fear and start feeling fueled by purpose. You become the kind of person who acts on intuition, not insecurity. The kind of person who trusts the process even when the outcome is unclear. And one day, you'll look back and realize that everything you were afraid of never had real power. It was your hesitation that held you captive, not your circumstances. You'll realize that readiness was never about having all the answers. It was about having the courage to begin without them. Because action, not certainty, is what builds empires, what transforms lives, what shapes destiny. Away, because the truth is, you don't need to be ready, you just need to begin. Asabe. Redefine failure, because failure is not the end of your story, it's the beginning of why. Our evolution. Somewhere along the way, we were taught to fear it, to hide from it, to treat it as something shameful. But failure isn't a dead end, it's a detour toward growth. Every failure is a teacher, one that doesn't whisper, but roars the truth you need to hear. It shows you what doesn't work, it tests your resilience, and it exposes the depth of your desire. The only people who never fail are the ones who never try, and that's the real tragedy. Because failure doesn't destroy dreams, fear of failure does. You cannot reach greatness without risk, and you cannot evolve without falling a few times along the way. Every setback, every rejection, every heartbreak carries the seed of transformation. Failure doesn't define you, it refines you. The world has conditioned us to believe that success is a straight line, that winners never stumble. But the truth is, the most powerful people you admire have all failed. Some publicly, some privately, but all repeatedly. They've faced rejection, humiliation, loss. Yet what separates them from the rest is not luck or talent, it's their relationship with failure. They don't see it as defeat, they see it as data. Every time they fall, they ask, what is this trying to teach me? And that's the key. Failure is feedback. It's not there to humiliate you, it's there to educate you. When you embrace it, you take away its power to wound you. You begin to see that every disappointment is redirecting you towards something better, something you might not have been able to reach if everything had gone according to plan. The universe doesn't make mistakes, it makes adjustments. Failure also humbles you in the most beautiful way. It strips away ego and leaves only authenticity. When you fail, you're forced to confront yourself, to see what truly matters, to identify what you're willing to fight for. Failure makes you honest. It reveals your limits, but also your potential. It shows you the cracks in your foundation, so you can rebuild stronger. It reminds you that you are not invincible, but you are resilient. And resilience is the secret ingredient of every remarkable life. When you fall and rise again, you gain something far greater than success. You gain a substance. You develop empathy, perspective, and gratitude. You learn that worth isn't tied to outcomes, and that real confidence isn't built on perfection. It's built on perseverance. But failure can only transform you if you stop running from it. Most people try to avoid failure by playing small. They choose comfort over courage, predictability over potential. They build walls around their dreams so they never have to face the sting of falling short. But here's the truth: avoiding failure is still a form of failure, because when you refuse to try, you fail by default. You trade the pain of effort for the pain of regret, and regret lasts much longer. Failure hurts, yes, but it heals. Regret festers. Failure is proof that you were brave enough to risk something, that you cared enough to try. You can recover from failure, but regret will haunt you forever. So, if you have to choose between the two, always choose failure, because it means you lived. The most powerful thing you can do is reframe how you see your failures. Instead of saying, "I failed," start saying, "I learned." Replace self-blame with self-awareness. Ask better questions. What did this experience reveal about me? What can I improve? What am I now ready for that I wasn't before? When you start to see failure as preparation, instead, stand tall and own it. Because failure doesn't diminish your worth, it reveals your depth. It's proof that you're in the arena, that you're daring to live a life that matters. Every time you rise after falling, you rewrite the definition of success. You show the world that success isn't about never failing, it's about never giving up. Every empire was built on a foundation of mistakes. Every masterpiece was preceded by a mess. Failure isn't something to fear, it's something to embrace. It's the evidence that you're growing, evolving, and becoming. And when you finally learn to see failure for what it truly is, you stop fearing it altogether, because you realize it was never here to destroy you. It was here to deliver you to the person you were always meant to become. Maybe because failure isn't your enemy, it's your evolution in disguise. Lead with purpose, not validation, because the moment you start living for approval, you hand over the steering wheel of your life. The truth is, most people spend years chasing applause, chasing likes, chasing the illusion of being enough in the eyes of others. But validation is a fragile drug. It gives you a temporary high and then leaves you emptier than before. You can build an entire life based on what looks good from the outside and still feel lost inside. Purpose, on the other hand, is different. It anchors you, it fuels you, it doesn't depend on who's watching. It burns quietly, fiercely, endlessly. When you live with purpose, you no longer perform for the world. You move in alignment with something greater than yourself. You stop asking, "Do they like me?" and start asking, "Does this fulfill me?" That's where real power begins. Purpose doesn't come from applause, it comes from clarity. It's born from the moments when no one is watching, when you're left alone with your truth. It comes from the things that break your heart and the dreams that refuse to die inside you. Purpose is the intersection between your pain and your passion. The thing you were built to give the world. And once you find it, you stop chasing noise and start listening to your own inner voice. You stop running toward what glitters and start moving toward what glows. When you're driven by validation, every setback feels like a verdict. But when you're driven by purpose, every setback feels like a lesson. You begin to see that external recognition is just an echo. It fades. Purpose, though, becomes the sound of your own heartbeat. It keeps you going when no one's cheering. It keeps you steady when everything around you shakes. When you live for validation, you start betraying yourself in small ways. You say yes when your soul screams no. You dim your light so others won't feel uncomfortable. You mold yourself into what others expect instead of who you truly are. And after a while, you lose sight of your reflection. You become a collection of everyone else's opinions, an echo of other people's expectations. But when you lead with purpose, you reclaim your identity. You no longer fear being misunderstood because you understand yourself. You stop needing everyone to agree with your path because you know it was never theirs to walk. Purpose gives you backbone. It teaches you to stand firm even when you stand alone. Because when your direction comes from within, no external noise can throw you off balance. Leading with purpose means trusting the path even when it's not popular. The world often rewards conformity and punishes authenticity. But the ones who change the world are never the ones who fit in. They're the ones who dare to stand out. Living with purpose requires courage because it means you'll sometimes walk against the current. People may question your decisions, doubt your intentions, or misunderstand your passion. Let them. You don't need to convince anyone who doesn't see your vision. Your purpose was whispered to you, not to them. The truth is, validation will always come later, after you've proven your commitment, after you've stayed consistent, after your results start speaking louder than your words. But you can't wait for validation to begin. Purpose demands movement even when no one believes. Purpose requires you to clap for yourself in silence until the world catches up. The beautiful thing about purpose is that it creates impact beyond you. When you start living with purpose, your energy shifts. You inspire without trying. You lift people simply by showing them what's possible. Purpose-driven people don't chase influence. They become influential by being authentic. You start realizing that your life is not just about success, it's about significance. You stop asking, what can I get? And start asking, what can I give? And in that shift, everything changes. Because fulfillment doesn't come from what you accumulate, it comes from what you contribute. You could have all the awards, the titles, the applause, but without purpose, it's all noise. True legacy is built in the quiet consistency of someone who chose meaning over popularity, impact over ego, truth over image. That's what lives on long after the spotlight fades. When you finally stop chasing validation, you start living free. You no longer need permission to be powerful. You realize that your worth was never up for negotiation. You don't need the world to approve of your dream before you chase it. You need to approve of yourself. Purpose gives you direction when the world gets loud. It silences insecurity because it reminds you why you started. And when you live this way, something profound happens. Peace replaces pressure. You stop performing and start becoming. You wake up each day knowing that even if no one claps, you're still aligned, you're still growing, you're still enough. You lead not because you crave recognition, but because you can't imagine living any other way. Because once you lead with purpose, everything else, success, love, abundance, naturally follows. Because validation fades, but purpose never does. And when you live with purpose, you stop chasing approval and start creating impact. Forgive yourself, because self-forgiveness is the quiet revolution that sets your soul free. We live in a world that teaches us how to forgive others, but never how to forgive ourselves. We carry the weight of our past like an invisible chain. Every mistake, every regret, every decision we wish we could undo. We replay the same moments in our minds until they carve guilt into our spirit. But guilt is not growth. Shame is not strength. You cannot move forward while punishing yourself for who you used to be. The truth is, you did the best you could with what you knew at the time. And that version of you, the one who stumbled, who broke, who tried and failed, deserves compassion, not condemnation. Self-forgiveness is not weakness. It's the most powerful act of love you can give yourself. Because only when you release the weight of your past can you rise into the fullness of your present. We all have moments we wish we could erase. The words we shouldn't have said, the chances we didn't take, the people we hurt or lost. But clinging to those moments doesn't change them. It only chains you to them. Forgiveness is not about pretending it didn't happen. It's about accepting that it did and choosing to heal anyway. You cannot rewrite the past, but you can rewrite your relationship with it. You can look back without living there. Every version of you, even the broken ones, was necessary. They all had a purpose. They all brought you here. Every mistake was a mirror showing you something about yourself, what you value, what you need, what you're capable of overcoming. You were never meant to stay perfect. You were meant to grow. And growth demands forgiveness, because without it, you'll forever be at war with yourself. Forgiving yourself means finally dropping the idea that you have to earn your own worth. You don't. You've always been worthy, even in your worst moments. You are not your mistakes. You are the lessons that grew from them. You are not the pain you caused. You are the awareness that it created. Too often we tie our identity to our failures. We start to believe that our flaws define us, that our past disqualifies us from happiness. But the truth is, your scars make you more human, not less. They prove that you've lived, that you've loved, that you've risked something real. The same way you would comfort a friend who made a mistake, you must learn to comfort yourself. Because self-forgiveness isn't about letting yourself off the hook. It's about letting yourself heal. When you don't forgive yourself, you live in emotional debt. You keep paying interest on pain that should have been released long ago. You sabotage new opportunities because deep down you believe you don't deserve them. You replay old wounds until they become your identity. But healing starts the moment you decide to stop punishing yourself for being human. Forgiveness doesn't erase accountability, it transforms it. When you forgive yourself, you don't deny your mistakes, you integrate their wisdom. You start saying, yes, that happened, yes, I hurt, but I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm evolving. And in that moment, your pain loses its power. You take back control. You realize that the past can't define you unless you keep reliving it. The act of forgiveness becomes an act of freedom, a declaration that you are done being a prisoner of yesterday. Self-forgiveness also teaches you how to love deeper. When you release judgment against yourself, you naturally stop judging others. Compassion begins to flow in both directions. You start understanding that everyone is fighting something you can't see. You stop expecting perfection from yourself or from anyone else. You begin to see that people are doing the best they can with their own wounds, just like you were. That shift softens you. It opens your heart. Forgiveness becomes a way of living, not just an act. And suddenly life feels lighter. Relationships become easier. You stop needing to win every argument, to be right all the time, to prove your worth through constant effort. Because when you forgive yourself, you no longer need validation. You already have peace. And peace, once found, becomes contagious. To forgive yourself is to finally return home to your own heart. It's to stand in front of the mirror, look into your own eyes and say, I release you. You don't have to carry this anymore. It's to reclaim your power from the past and pour it into the present. You can't change who you were, but you can choose who you become. The past was a lesson, not a life sentence. Every time you forgive yourself, you create more space for love, for joy, for growth. You step into your life with open hands instead of clenched fists. And that's when you realize forgiveness was never about forgetting. It was about remembering your own worth. You've been through enough battles. It's time to stop being your own enemy. It's time to love yourself back into wholeness. Go away, because when you finally forgive yourself, you stop surviving your past and start living your future. Ati. Choose growth over comfort, because comfort might feel safe, but growth is where life truly begins. Comfort is familiar, it's predictable, it's easy, and it feels good for a while. But too much comfort dulls your edge, silences your potential, and traps you in cycles that keep you small. Growth, on the other hand, is uncomfortable, uncertain, and often terrifying, but it's also transformational. Every time you step outside your comfort zone, you step closer to the person you're meant to become. Growth demands courage. It asks you to face yourself, to challenge the beliefs that no longer serve you, to shed the identities that keep you limited, to let go of what feels safe but stagnant. The truth is, comfort never changes you. Discomfort does. Every great breakthrough in your life will start with a decision to step into the you known. And yes, it will stretch you, it will shake you, it will scare you, but it will also set you free. We all crave certainty. We want to know that if we take a risk, things will work out. But growth doesn't come with guarantees, it comes with lessons. It's not about knowing what's ahead. It's about trusting yourself enough to handle whatever comes. That's where confidence is built, in the fire of uncertainty. Every time you choose growth over comfort, you reinforce the truth that you are capable of more than you think. Growth strips away illusions. It forces you to meet the parts of yourself that fear change and whisper to them, "It's okay, we're doing this anyway." Because staying the same is also a choice, and it's the one that costs you the most. You can't evolve while clinging to the familiar. The version of you that's meant to soar cannot survive in the cage of convenience. Growth is uncomfortable, yes, but so is staying stuck. The difference is, only one of them will transform you. Choosing growth means being willing to fail, to look foolish, to start over. It means stepping into rooms where you're not the smartest, the strongest, or the most experienced, and being okay with that. Growth isn't about being perfect, it's about being in progress. Every expert was once a beginner who refused to quit. Every strong person was once broken. Every confident soul was once scared. The people who grow the fastest are the ones who refuse to let fear make their decisions. They understand that discomfort is not a signal to stop. It's a sign that they're expanding. Growth happens when you allow yourself to be a student again, when you ask questions, when you take feedback without ego, when you stretch beyond what's easy. Because the truth is, the cost of comfort is your potential. And your potential is worth more than your pride. The beauty of growth is that it changes how you see everything. Once you commit to it, you stop craving instant results and start craving evolution. You stop asking, how fast can I get there? And start asking, how much can I learn along the way? Growth shifts your focus from the destination to the journey. You begin to appreciate the challenges because you understand that they're shaping you. Every setback becomes a test of resilience. Every delay becomes a moment of preparation. Growth is not linear. It's messy. It's unpredictable. It's real. But it's in that mess that you find your strength. The person who's constantly growing doesn't fear change. They welcome it. They understand that change is not loss, it's progress. And when you start embracing growth as a way of life, nothing can break you because you're always evolving through it. Comfort, on the other hand, whispers lies. It tells you that staying where you are is safer, that you can always start tomorrow, that your dreams can wait. But comfort is clever. It disguises fear as logic. It keeps you looping in almost, living half-truths, convincing yourself that you're content when deep down you know you're not. Comfort doesn't just hold you back, it slowly numbs your purpose. You start settling for things that once felt unacceptable. You start calling survival success. But the fire inside you doesn't die, it just grows quieter, waiting for the moment you choose courage again. And that's the real danger of comfort. It doesn't destroy you all at once. It erodes you softly until you forget you ever wanted more. Growth will challenge you, yes, but comfort will cost you your calling. So when life presents you with a choice between what's comfortable and what's right for your growth, choose the path that scares you a little and excites you a lot. Choose the challenge that stretches you, the dream that demands more of you, the direction that pushes you beyond who you've been. Because you are not here to stay comfortable. You are here to expand, to evolve, to become. Every great story you admire began with someone who chose growth over comfort, who said, I'm not done yet. You are not supposed to fit into old versions of yourself forever. Growth means outgrowing. It means becoming new. It means constantly stepping into your next level, even when no one else understands it. Because when you choose growth, you choose transformation. You choose purpose over ease. You choose becoming over belonging. Worry because comfort keeps you where you are, but growth takes you where you're meant to be. Amar. Embrace change, because change isn't your enemy, it's your evolution in disguise. Most people spend their lives fighting change, clinging to what feels familiar, even when it's no longer right for them. We resist it because it threatens our sense of control. We crave predictability, but life doesn't work that way. Life is fluid. It moves, it shifts, it transforms, and it asks you to do the same. The truth is, change is the only constant you can depend on. And yet, it's the thing most people fear the most. But if you want to grow, if you want to thrive, you must learn to dance with it instead of running from it. Because every major turning point in your life, the growth, the healing, the breakthroughs, all begin with change. You can't evolve if you're holding on to the version of yourself that's already expired. Change is not a loss, it's an invitation to become more. When change comes, it often doesn't look like a gift. It looks like chaos. It feels like confusion. It feels like everything you built is falling apart. But that's the thing about transformation. It's supposed to dismantle what no longer serves you. Change shakes your foundation not to destroy you, but to rebuild you stronger, wiser, more aligned. It clears out what's outdated to make room for what's next. Sometimes it feels like everything is being taken from you, when in reality it's being rearranged for you. Life has a way of pushing you out of your comfort zone when you refuse to move on your own. That heartbreak, that loss, that rejection, it wasn't punishment, it was redirection. The universe will break your routine before it breaks your spirit, and when it does, you can either resist it or rise with it. Resisting change is like trying to hold back the tide. You'll exhaust yourself fighting something that's meant to move. The longer you cling to what was, the harder it becomes to receive what could be. Change asks you to surrender, to trust that even when things don't make sense now, they will one day. Surrender doesn't mean giving up. It means letting go of your need to control every outcome. It means having faith that life knows what it's doing, even when you don't. Change might take away your plan, but it never takes away your purpose. You might not understand it in the moment, but one day you'll look back and realize that every ending was actually an entryway. Every detour was divine direction. Every collapse was a construction zone for something greater. You don't have to know the how way when you trust the go why acha. The beauty of change is that it forces you to meet new versions of yourself. Each season of life brings out different strengths, different lessons, different layers of who you are. Change reveals the parts of you that would have stayed hidden if life had stayed the same. You discover your resilience, your adaptability, your courage. You learn how to rebuild, how to reimagine, how to rise. Change teaches you to stop fearing uncertainty because you begin to realize you've survived it before. Every time you thought you couldn't handle something, you did. Every time you thought it was over, it wasn't. You've already proven you can handle change. Now you must trust yourself enough to embrace it. Because on the other side of change is always something extraordinary, a new opportunity, a new version of peace, a new sense of power that you couldn't have accessed any other way. Change is also a mirror. It reflects what you truly believe about yourself. Do you believe you're capable of adapting, or do you believe you're too fragile to start over? Because your answer determines everything. The people who thrive through change are not the ones who have it easy. They're the ones who stay curious. They don't ask, why is this happening to me? They ask, what is this trying to teach me? They don't see endings as tragedy. They see them as transition. When you start approaching change with curiosity instead of fear, you stop shrinking from it. You start growing through it. You begin to see that life isn't happening against you. It's happening for you. Every shift, every challenge, every transformation is molding you into someone stronger, wiser, and far more capable than you were before. So when change comes, and it will, don't hide, don't cling, don't fight to keep things the way they were. Breathe, Trust, allow, let life move through you and watch how it rearranges everything for your highest good. The storm you fear is often the one that clears your path. The chapter that closes is often the one that saves you. You are not losing yourself, you are shedding what no longer fits. That's what change does. It strips away the false layers until only truth remains. So, welcome it, honor it, flow with it, because the more you resist change, the more painful it feels, but the more you embrace it, the more powerful it becomes. Life is not meant to be static, it's meant to expand, and you are not meant to stay the same. You are meant to transform. Away, because change doesn't break you, it builds you into everything you are destined to become. Believe in yourself, because no amount of talent, luck, or opportunity will ever matter if you don't. Belief is the foundation upon which every dream is built. It's the spark that ignites action, the force that turns possibility into reality. Without self-belief, even the strongest plans crumble. But with it, even the impossible becomes achievable. The truth is, no one will ever believe in you the way you must believe in yourself. People may doubt you, they may underestimate you, they may even walk away from you, but your belief must be unshakable. It's not arrogance, it's alignment. It's knowing that you are created for a reason, that you carry something within you worth fighting for. Believing in yourself doesn't mean you always know the way, it means you trust yourself to find it. That's the kind of faith that moves mountains, not because the mountains shrink, but because you grow. Most people spend their lives waiting for someone else to validate them. They wait for permission to try, to rise, to shine. But here's the truth, no one is coming to save you. No one is coming to hand you your confidence. Belief is an inside job. It starts in silence, when no one's clapping, when no one sees your effort, when doubt whispers that you're not enough. That's when you must choose to stand tall. Because believing in yourself is not about ego. It's about resilience. It's about standing in your truth even when the world doesn't see it yet. Every visionary, every leader, every success story you admire, none of them started with certainty. They started with a decision to believe even when there was no proof, to trust the voice inside that said, "Keep going." You have that same voice. You just have to listen to it more than you listen to fear. There will be days when believing in yourself feels impossible, when everything you've built seems to fall apart, when your confidence cracks under the weight of failure. Those are the moments that define you. Because belief isn't tested when things are easy. It's tested when everything feels uncertain. That's when your inner strength is forged. That's when you remind yourself of who you are, what you've overcome, and why you started. You've survived heartbreak, loss, rejection, and doubt, and you're still here. That's proof enough that you're capable. The world might try to label you based on your past, your mistakes, or your setbacks, but your belief must be louder than their opinions. You can rebuild, and why think when you believe in yourself? Because belief turns struggle into strategy, pain into purpose, and fear into fuel. Believing in yourself also means refusing to let comparison steal your power. Too often we measure our worth by someone else's timeline, someone else's success, someone else's highlight reel. But your journey is not supposed to look like theirs. Your timing is different, your lessons are different. You are not behind, you're being prepared. When you truly believe in yourself, you stop competing with others and start competing with your potential. You understand that your path is sacred, that every detour and delay is shaping you for something bigger. The moment you stop seeking external approval is the moment you step into internal power. And once you stand in that power, you become unstoppable. Because you no longer need the world to believe in you. You already do. Self-belief isn't about pretending you never doubt. It's about not letting doubt make your decisions. It's about acting with courage even when your hands shake. It's about saying, "I may not know how, but I will figure it out." That's the language of self-trust. Belief is built through action. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you strengthen it. Every time you follow through on your goals, you prove to your mind that you can. Confidence is not born, it's earned through repetition, through integrity, through effort. You don't wake up one day believing in yourself. You build it brick by brick, moment by moment, choice by choice. And over time, you become unbreakable, not because life gets easier, but because you stop doubting your ability to handle it. When you believe in yourself, you shift the entire energy of your life. You stop chasing validation and start creating value. You stop asking, "Can I?" and start declaring, "I will." You stop living in fear of failure and start seeing failure as feedback. You realize that every no is redirection, not rejection. Belief gives you vision. It allows you to see beyond your current circumstances into what's possible. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. The greatest thing you can ever do for yourself is decide once and for all that you are enough. Not when you achieve more, not when you prove more. Right now. Because belief doesn't wait for success, it creates it. The moment you choose to believe in yourself, you step into the frequency of possibility. You become magnetic.